Good morning.
Welcome everyone to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rance alongside Tommy Christ and TK coming to you from Tremonti's Meat and Seafood in Baton Rouge, the best place to get all your tailgating needs for this weekend. And you're going to obviously be at home, Tigers on the road, but big game. You get all your tailgate needs at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. I'm coming to you from an undisclosed location presented by Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, and we're sponsored, of course, by LeBear's Casino, the Barstool Sportsbook inside LeBear's Casino, the best place to go watch the games in Baton Rouge. Go over there, get some great food. They've got an awesome menu, but also TVs galore, cool atmosphere. Always fans cheering for games over there because of the betting window at the Barstool Sportsbook inside LeBear's. TK, some news and notes to get to in the world of sports. Of course, Ryder Cup is happening this weekend. We'll talk a little bit of golf. Colin Kaepernick's name popped up. Yes, that quarterback that hasn't been in the league for I don't know how many years now. He's trying to get back into the league. We'll tell you about that. Travis Kelce continues to be the hottest name in sports. We'll tell you why. The New Orleans Saints they get a reprieve. Everybody's lost now in the division. They're tied for first place with Atlanta and Tampa. They get a chance to take on the Bucs. Tommy will tell you what the line is on that and the latest on Carr's injury. Maybe some positive news potentially for the Saints. Major League Baseball playoffs are wrapping up. 5 games left to go in the league this year, and. Also, the congratulations to the Phillies. They clinched yesterday. That means Aaron Nola will be pitching in the playoffs. We'll get a chance to see him in the playoffs again. Let's talk Ryder Cup for a second. Rory McIlroy came out and there was an article yesterday, Tommy, that talked about Bryce DeChambeau, who's been red hot. He just won on the Live Tour. He's won a couple times in the last month and a half on the Live Tour. And he's not going to be on the USA team. And he basically said he should be on the USA team, and that other live golfers, not just Koepka, who is the only live golfer on the USA team, should be in the tournament. Rory McIlroy made the point to say, hey, this is a lesson for you live people. It's a little taste of your own medicine. Like, maybe you should have thought of that before you just jumped to the live tour. That said, Ryder Cup, I know it's a big deal. I know it's the Olympics of golf. But the question to me, Tommy, is how much is it worth, right? Like, we've seen reports that, Bryson DeChambeau would have paid nearly $1 million other golfers have shown they might have paid up to $1 million in fines to be able to participate in the Ryder Cup golf tournament, to play for Team Europe, for example. But if you're making 3 times the amount of money you would have made playing on the PGA Tour, is the Ryder Cup really worth all that?
Well, it's a decision each person's got to make. If they give you $100 million to go play the Live Tour, do you want to go play on a Ryder Cup? To each his own. And McIlroy is critical of Ian Poulter and some other Europeans, Sergio Garcia, who offered to pay his fines. But hey, you're going to miss that when this thing starts Friday morning. By the way, it comes on at like midnight Friday morning our time, 12:30 a.m. is when the day one. So by the time we come on Sports Shows Daily Friday, day one's going to about be in the book. Same thing when we do radio Saturday. But no, it's an individual decision. The whole thing when some of them guys went to the Live Tour, and of course now it's going to end up all being back together. And maybe the Ryder Cup in 2025, which will be at Bethpage Black in New York. Maybe it'll be, some of those other guys who are not there now might be there then. Time will tell. But yeah, I've always enjoyed the Ryder Cup. It's well documented. The USA is not won on European soil since '93. USA crushed them at one of your favorite courses, Whistling Straits, 2 years ago. They got like 19-9, just like total domination. And so Europe's trying to pay back. It's right outside of Rome, Italy. This weekend. So I'm gonna be checking it out. When I get up early, the TV's going right on to the Ryder Cup. So I can check it out.
Well, Rory McIlroy was willing to pay $900,000. Not Rory McIlroy. Sergio Garcia was willing to pay $900,000 in fines in order to get on the Ryder Cup team. He was willing. He offered that. They declined. But that was shocking to me when I read that. He's willing to basically pay $1 million, actually more than that with taxes, right? Willing to pay 1 point something million dollars to just play in this tournament this weekend and to represent, Europe every 2 years. That really surprised me that it means that much to these golfers.
Well, I think it means a lot to them. They're playing for Europe, or they're playing for the USA, and Garcia's, got a pretty sparkling Ryder Cup record, as does Ian Poulter, who won't be playing. There's 4 rookies on each team, 12 players on each team, 4 first-timers, I should say. And, of course, LSU's Sam Burns playing for USA. So it's, I guess it means a little something different to each one of them guys, but money's a part of it. And like you said, if Sergio's willing to put up $1 million to get into this event, which he's not gonna make $1 million for playing in the Ryder Cup. Now, so it's an important thing. It's got a tremendous history, and it goes back to all the greats: Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods. We can go down the list, but it's an individual thing, and this world, especially the sports world, has become an individual thing with expressing yourself and make your own decisions, good, bad, ugly.
Speaking of the Ryder Cup, if you want to bet on the United States to end that near 30-year streak, you got to wager what, -135? Is that the latest?
It's -135 for USA to win, -125 for Europe to win. And if you think it's going to be a tie, which is possible, and if it is a tie, 14-14, then the Ryder Cup would retain with the USA because they hold the cup from winning 2 years ago, plus 1,000 if you think it's going to be a tie. So you can put $100 up and cash a ticket for $1,000 if you think it's going to be a tie. And of course, the odds are high because that probably, it's harder to do that than one team win.
By the way, the Solheim Cup, which is the female version of the Ryder Cup, they ended in a tie last week, 14-14, which was incredible considering the United States won every match on day one. Looked like they were going to cruise to victory, and then gagged it down the stretch and ended as a tie, which meant that Europe won because they had the cup already. All right, so based off of 2 years ago where the United States absolutely dominated at Whistling Straits in Wisconsin, I'm surprised though that because gamblers or bookies a lot of times go off history, and the United States hasn't won in 3 decades in Europe, but yet the bookies, the odds makers have the United States the favorite, which is a little bit of a surprise. A lot of times trends stay trends, and so but they're not giving you a tremendous. It's -135 to bet on the United States to win, but only -125 to bet on Europe to win. So it's not a ton of value there to go the other way. It may be worth just a fun play to throw it on the tie. I don't know.
I would think, that's your value, is to throw a little bit on the tie. Now, on paper, the USA is better. If you look at Ryder Cup experience, recent play, golf in the majors, those kind of things, there is a slant to the USA, but we know it's not going to be played on paper, just like football games and baseball games. It's not played on paper. No matter what you think, you could be wrong. You might be right. So that's why they call it gambling. It's not called winning. It's called gambling. So, we'll have to see what happens with all of that. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to watch a good bit of it as much as I can. We'll talk about it on Friday morning and Saturday morning on the radio. So I'm looking forward to the Ryder Cup.
All right, let's talk NFL for a minute. The big story of the week, twofold, right? The Dolphins hanging 70 and, on Sean Payton and the Broncos. Travis Kelce, the big story. They're selling his jersey sales are up 400%. Now that Taylor Swift and he are seeing each other.
Did you hear Belichick's comment?
No, what did he say?
Oh, this is beautiful. Bill Belichick was on like his weekly radio thing, and they asked him about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, and his answer was, Kelce's got a lot of big catches in his career. This would be the best. Leaving the
No
Belichick
question.
with the dry humor there. That was pretty good, especially for old Bill Belichick, who doesn't sway off of the football topic often.
Yeah, pretty. I mean, it's unbelievable. I guarantee you.
Have you seen her in concert, Ron?
I never have. No, that's one I haven't. I would like to. Um, she's coming to New Orleans in a year from now, or whatever. But in 24 she's coming, and of course everybody in there was trying to get tickets. I forgot about the window that they had to try to get on the waiting list or whatever to try to get tickets, and so I missed that window. My daughter, like everybody's daughter, is trying to go. But the problem, Tommy, is I have a threshold for what I would pay for a concert. I've been blessed. I've been to many, many, many concerts in my life, all sorts of genres, from rap to country to rock to opera to you name it, and I like it all. But I'm not going to pay $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 for tickets to go see Taylor Swift and have decent seats, and that's what it would take. And so I draw the line at probably $500, $600, $700 maybe max of what I would pay for a concert ticket. So I'll just have to wait till she gets a little bit older one day and those ticket prices come down.
I have a question for you. Since you're this kind of guy, it was announced this week that the headliner at the Super Bowl halftime show will be Usher, who I've never heard of. I'm sure you've seen him in concert.
No, absolutely not. I have not seen Usher. That's one. I've got a small list of people that I've never seen that I'd like to see. Bruno Mars, Usher, Taylor Swift. I never got to see Madonna. I guess that window's closed. I don't know if she's really touring or anything. That's somebody I'd like to see. That's probably it's probably a fifth somewhere on there that I'm not thinking of. That's, I'm trying to think of who's alive. I never got to see Michael Jackson back in the day. Would have liked to have seen Michael Jackson. But as far as who's alive and who's out there that's actually playing that I would want to see, that's my list. Usher, Taylor Swift, Bruno Mars, Madonna. I don't know if she's even touring anymore or playing anymore, but that's probably the list.
Okay, I'm curious.
All right, so speaking of NFL, Colin Kaepernick's name came out of nowhere. Wrote a letter to the New York Jets saying that they lobbying for them to add him to the practice squad. Do you believe we will ever see Colin Kaepernick back in the NFL?
I don't, but I'll qualify that by saying if one of the 32 teams thinks he can help them win, they'll sign him, regardless of whatever else, because that's what it's all about.
Regardless of the lawsuit?
The shenanigans, the social issues, whatever you want to talk about. But because we've seen other NFL players with baggage, be signed. But as John Gruden famously said one time, baggage is you can't play. They're not worried about other baggage. It's can you play? Can you be one of 53 guys that help the team win? And if there's an NFL team that thinks that, they're going to sign him. They'll sign him today. They'll sign him. But, he hasn't played in 6 or 7 years now, and the whole shenanigan thing with the tryout that the NFL set up for him, and then he canceled like an hour before and then did something like 20 miles away. I don't know. I don't think we'll see him play in the NFL again, to answer your question.
No, I agree with you. I think too much time has passed, and the big lawsuit against the league that never helps your case. You're telling me there's a chance that Carr might play for the Saints? I thought he was out 3 weeks at least.
They're talking about it's a pain. How much pain can he tolerate? But then again, can you throw it's one thing to throw the football on Airline Highway in Metairie, toss it over to Kamara, who's back now. And it's another thing to drop back in the NFL and have to get it out of your hand in 1.5 seconds on that 10-yard out route or that, slant or the dig route. But, it's a different thing. But they're talking about it's not as serious as it could have been. I think everybody concludes that. But the question, how much pain can he take? But if you watch the Bengals game the other night, Joe Burrow didn't throw a ball more than 10, 12 yards down the field. They were only playing on that back foot and let it fly. They kept everything underneath, and they still won the game, so that's good. But if Carr's out there and the other team knows he's not going to throw the deep ball, he's not even going to throw the intermediate deep route, does that affect the team's chances to win? It could just be posturing, like, hey, he might be there, make the Buccaneers think about that a little bit. I would assume Winston's getting all the first team snaps. They did bring in another quarterback, a guy that was on the practice squad like a year ago, Tooton, Tuton.
He came over from Panthers. They released him. He was with the Panthers, and they signed him off their practice squad.
But he's got a little familiarity with the Saints, and they just had to get another guy out there behind Winston because the Hayner kid's suspended, and of course you got Taysom Hill, but so they just had to make a business move in case something were to happen to Winston. Now, if come Saturday, his Derek Carr's shoulders are right, that new guy will be back off the team, and it'll be like a yo-yo thing. So it's going to be day to day, week to week. Kind of what Coach Allen said. It'll be week to week. And I think if you're a Saints fan, you just sit tight till about Saturday or look at their final injury report, which comes out, I guess, Friday. And we could talk about that perhaps if it's out by the time we hit the air Friday. So, but if you're a Saints fan, going back to what they said, this could have been worse. It's not a season-ending injury. There's no surgery scheduled at this point in time. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. It's going to be a week-to-week thing.
I would think a heavy dose of Taysom Hill, whether Winston's healthy or not, working Taysom Hill in there does a couple of things. One, with Kamara back, it's a two-headed monster on whether he gives it or takes it on the read option. And then it's, Taysom Hill does nothing but move the ball down the field. It's old school. It's methodic, but he takes care of the ball. He can eat up clock. And I think I love the under, whatever it is. Take the under in the Saints. Bucs.
Well, the over-under is 40.5. So you combine the perhaps lack of offense, which is documented by the Saints, Winston being in there, then the fact that the Saints defense, 11 straight games has allowed 20 or less points. Even though the under is 40.5, I think that's the play. There's your value.
Saints are a 3-point favorite over the Bucs, but if I had to bet that game, I'd bet the under. All right. This week, girls and boys both cranked up at LSU for basketball. A little different crowd for the girls than the boys. On Monday, 2,500 people tuned in for practice. It's not Kentucky Wildcat basketball opening night like it used to be where it was sold out, but newsworthy nonetheless that LSU's women had 2,500 people at 1:30 on a Monday to go watch practice.
I think the key is 1:30 on a Monday there. It's one thing it would have been 7:30 Monday night. Then it might have been 5,000 people there. I don't know. But they are the reigning national champs. They're expected to be even better this year with Michaela Williams and Van Lith, the point guard from Louisville. I've seen some video on her. They have a few video clips from practice. And it's been, it's a big thing. The LSU women's basketball season ticket sales are up through the roof. And they are going to be ranked number one preseason. I can't imagine that they wouldn't be. I'd be shocked if they weren't. And then, we'll see what happens. Kim Mulkey's in charge, so that's a good thing.
Major League Baseball, we're a week away from playoffs. Excited about that. The Chicago Cubs, they're not my team anymore from a standpoint of, in all honesty, I haven't really been following the Cubs the last 5 years like I did for the most part of my life, but in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, that was my team. And who's my favorite team? Cubs. And I knew what was going on. Hasn't been that way the last 5 or 6 years. I've been heavy college baseball more than Major League Baseball, and I more follow the storylines of Major League Baseball and particularly LSU players. But the Cubs have a chance right now. They're in the wild card race, and if the season were to end today, they'd be in. But they're trying to be the Cubs, and they're trying to blow it. And they pulled a Bartman last night, huh? The Cubs, remember Bartman famously 20 years ago, the fan who reached over, took it away from Moises Alou, who would have caught the out. And, of course, they ended up blowing the lead and losing in an NLCS, not going to the World Series. But the Cubs last night have a chance to, have a full game up on their closest rival in the wild card situation, and they end up just absolutely letting one go down their leg.
Routine fly ball, and I emphasize the word routine. Okay, I mean this ball should have been caught
against the Braves. Tell the scenario.
The Braves are down 6-5, runners on second and third, 2 out last inning, and routine fly slightly into right center. Right fielder had to move maybe 10, 12 steps to his right, but not run. He just had to drift over there, get under the ball, make the catch. Most high school kids would have made the catch. I know Rougarou right fielders would have made the catch, and it just missed his glove. And then, of course, the guys were going because it was 2 outs. They were going to crack at the bat. And so the Cubs lose. Braves walk off.
On a walk-off.
Yeah. Oh, man. So that was tough if you're a Cubby fan. They still got a shot. There's only Major League Baseball regular season ends Sunday. And, go to MLB.com and look at the standings, divisions, look at the wild card standings, and set yourself up for the next couple of days. I know everybody's consumed with football, but, I'm paying attention to the baseball. I actually bet the Astros last night. That didn't work out in Seattle because the pressure's on Houston with Texas leading the AL West. Been a Rangers guy for a long time, so we'll see if they can hang on.
Yeah, it's incredible. You look at Major League Baseball this year, a lot of have-nots have become haves. Minnesota,
Orioles,
Milwaukee, they both won the division. Baltimore and Tampa Bay are going to represent the AL East. One of them is going to win a division, while the Yankees and the Red Sox have never been in it. Like, it's unbelievable.
The Cardinals are worst season in a long, long time.
Yeah.
So check out baseball. Give it a peek. Maybe tonight, Wednesday. There's no NFL or anything like that. So I'm certainly keeping up with it.
On Friday, we'll talk more about a big news story that happened locally in Baton Rouge, and that is Steve Schneider of WAFB, the longtime sports director at the CBS affiliate in Baton Rouge, who's been there since 1982, and he started out as a college student and working on shows with Tim Brando back in the day. He has announced his retirement. Will be retiring in October sometime. That is a giant news story because he has been the face of that station for 40 years, and really in the last 25 years has been dominated the sports market as AFB kind of took over WBRZ's stranglehold of the 80s and 90s on the ratings. WAFB has been the big dog the last 20 plus years in the market, and Steve's a big part of the reason why. So we'll talk more about that newsworthy story and how it'll affect the landscape of things in sports in this market coming up on Friday's edition of Sports Shorts Daily. Tell us about Tremonti's on the way out.
Yeah, well, they got lunch specials. They got the on-site catering. They can deliver to your office, your home, your party, whatever it might be. They got the tailgating party packages if you're having people over for the game, or you're heading to somebody's house. And you got to bring that tray of catfish or some ribeye rolls or some shrimp rolls. They got it all at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. Connect on Facebook and Instagram. Go to Tremonti's.com, or better yet, stop by here on Jefferson Highway, right down the street from Parkview Baptist Church and School. They'll be glad to help you. There's so many things in here, all the wine, the whiskey, the 20 flavors of sausage, everything you need. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. You really need to stop by soon.
All right, for Tommy Krysan, I'm Ronnie Rance. Tune in this coming Friday for more Sports Shorts Daily. Please like and share this video. And don't forget, go buy Barstool Sportsbook inside LeBear's. Put a little wager on that Ryder Cup for the games this weekend. You'll be glad you did. For Tommy, I'm Ronnie. We'll see you Friday, everybody.